Assalamu alaikum. Myself Mohammad Rehan from KIDKEN School, Sakha. I want to have you a short trip to the science laboratory of the KIDKEN School, Sakha, affiliated with PMC Islamabad, Pakistan Montessori Council. So let's move. First of all, the parts or the instruments that we are going to discuss are of biology portion. Here we have the glass slides. Glass slides are basically the glass covered flipper slips which are used for in order to preserve the specimens in biology. In biology, we do have so many specimens, and in order to study them microscopically, we preserve them with the help of these glass slides. So these are basically the glass slides which are helpful for the preservation of specimens in order to study them with the help of microscope. The next is we have the specimen so-called starfish to which you can observe, you can watch that it is also preserved in a glass slide. This is called starfish, have the 5 arms and especially renowned, and it is a marine dweller. It lives in marine or sea water. It has 5 arms, no head and no brain, and it has also the stingy cells which it used for the purpose of defense and catching the prey. Now moving towards the next, that is the liver fluke. Liver fluke is basically a parasite which is leafy shaped and lives in the liver of animals, especially cow, goat and sometimes human. It is so called liver fluke because it lives in the liver. Here comes the most important instruments, one of the most renowned discovery ever been made by the human, that is microscope. And this is compound microscope which is basically used for the purpose of observing the organisms with the help of these, especially the microbes. Now moving towards another specimen that is called earthworm. Earthworm is basically also known as the farming friend. The reason behind its name is its help in increasing the fertility of land. So for the reason it is called earthworm. It basically lives in the moist soil. Here comes another specimen so called snail. It also lives in the land, fresh water and marine water. It is a shell for its protection, and it is also a source of one of the renowned and basic organisms on the earth. Now moving towards the next specimen so called jellyfish. It is basically umbrella shaped or bell shaped marine organism which is basically renowned for its stinging cells. It is the stinging cells in order to for the purpose of defense mechanism or for catching the prey. It is also a marine dweller, lives in seawater. Now here comes one of the most important systems comprising in human body. One of the most important is human circulatory system. Basically, human circulatory system is an organ system which is helpful for the transportation of materials within the human body, like the oxygen, like the important nutrients and the toxic substances, which all are traveled and transported with the help of this human circulatory system, which involves the organs heart, aorta, brachiotraph artery, brachiophilin vein, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, jugular vein, carotid artery, pulmonary artery, femoral artery and femoral vein, liver, kidney and ulnar artery. These all are the main components which are helpful for the human circulatory system. Moving towards the next, that is human heart. Basically, human heart is a muscular organ which helps in the transporting of substances with the help of blood. Basically, the main function of human heart is to pumping the blood throughout the body in order to get the oxygenated blood. Now moving towards another system, that is so called human digestive system. Human digestive system is considered one of the most important human system, and the reason behind is that the one who wants to perform vital activities, he or she needs the energy, and he or she gets the energy with the help of the digestion. And digestion is the system by which an organism digests his or her food. Due to the digestive system, a person gets the energy and gets the nutrients and gets their nutrition digested. Here comes the human brain. Human brain is one of the main organs of the human body. It controls all the vital activities of the human body, especially its voluntary or involuntary functions, with the help of nerves and the brain, so-called medulla oblongata. It comprises of some of the main components in the human brain, so-called olfactory bulb, pineal body, olfactory tract, optic nerve, optic chiasma, pons, cerebrum, and so on, etc. Now moving towards one of the most important and renowned model of muscular system, which shows and demonstrates us that our body also comprises of the muscles, which helps in the functioning of the body as well as functioning of the body organs. Here our discussion ends of biology portion, where we have discussed the most important apparatuses of biology. Assalamu alaikum. So moving towards the physics portion and discussing the instruments that are used in physics practicals. So first of all, we have got bar magnets. You all are familiar with the bar magnets from the class 1 to till the class metric. That these are basically the metallic magnetic bars which are useful for in order to attract the iron fillings especially. Not only the magnets, we do have so many practical applications of these magnets in our life. All the electric appliances which are functional, these all are gifted just due to the magnetism or due to these magnets. We will briefly discuss about them after some interval of time. Now moving towards another instrument, so called magnifying glass. This is such type of glass which are used in order to focus the substances clearly, and it is concave in nature. If you are observing and watching the image with the help of this magnifying glass, you find the image will be erect, will be very real in nature, but will be erect in nature. Now moving towards so called the spring balance. A spring balance is basically an instrument used for weighing the weights. With the help of a spring balance, you may weigh the weights of the objects. Like if we are making it empty, here we are finding the weight of these balls, these two metallic balls, which are about 0.5 Newton. Now picking one of the most important instruments, so called NECO instrument, which is basically used for the purpose of calculating the time, or in simple words we can say it as a digital stopwatch. We got another instrument which is helpful for measuring the lengths, so called micrometer screw gauge. which is the capacity to measure the lengths of the substances even less than millimeters. You may find a detailed video of our instruments used in the science laboratory on our YouTube channel, the KIDKEN School Sakha. Now we have meter scale, which comprises of 100 centimeter length, so called 1 meter in equal, by which we can measure the lengths of the instruments. The last but not the least, we have one of the most important instruments and chemicals used in chemistry experiments. Here find a chemical so-called paraffin oil, which we get from the source of petroleum, and this paraffin oil is also used for the purpose of skincare products. Here do we have acetic acid with a bottle of 450 ml, which is colorless acidic liquids used in especially labs to preserve the specimens and in staining purposes. Now here comes the acid, so called hydrochloric acid, which is a strong colorless acid, produces fumes in concentrated form. Not only this, but it has a vast huge use in industrial uses. Now we have got the sulfur, which is also used for the preparation of sulfur dioxide by the exothermic reaction, and we have also got its mixture with the sulfate, so called copper sulfate, which is also called as blue litmus due to its color blue, which is used for the preparation of solutions of blue litmus. And we have got one of the most important chemicals, so called naphthalene, which is used for the identification of acidic and basic solutions. But last but not the least, we have the base, so called sodium hydroxide, which comprises of elements sodium and hydroxide, which is basic in nature and helps in the preparation of caustic solutions. On the other hand, we got a tripod stand, to which we put the wire gas and a Bunsen burner down just behind this tripod stand, to which we can exceed the chemical reactions, especially the exothermic reactions. And we have the holder, so called test tube holder. Test tube holder is used for the purpose of holding the test tubes like this. We hold the test tubes in it and hold them carefully in order to proceed our chemical reactions. We got varieties of flasks here: round bottom flasks, conical flasks, as well as we have variety of beakers with the range of different ml capacity. This beaker, which may consist of 250 ml, which can hold the liquid as mixture of 250 ml. Here comes a set of test tubes, to which we can pour the chemicals in it and proceed our chemical reactions. This plate is called the China dish. China dish has the capacity to absorb the heat, and even though after absorbing the heat, it cannot deflect, or it could not be break. Here we have highly purified water, so called distilled water, which is used for the diagnosis uses, especially in vitro.